2023 regular session of the Board of Education. This is Joseph Cilio, President of the Board of Education speaking. Thank you for attending in person or through Zoom. There's a call to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Due notice of today's meeting has been served to all members of the Board of Education pursuant to the requirements of law. Tina, will you please take attendance?
President, Board of Education.
Present.
Vice President, Board of Education.
Present.
Present. Present.
Faculty Trustee, Board of Education. Present. Dr. Katrina Sinha, Superintendent of Schools. Present. Mamie McLaughlin, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources and Leadership Development.
Present.
Judy Barbera, Interim Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction.
Present.
Doug Spencer, District Council, Garcia.
Present.
Dan DeCaprio, Assistant Superintendent for Business and Finance, District Clerk, is excused.
At this time, may I have a motion that the Board of Education accepts the agenda for November 2023 with the exception of removing item H3?
Second. Second. Aye.
I'll now hand it over to Dr. Sinha.
Sure, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Can't see, but all right, here we go. All right, so this evening, we wanted to start off our meeting with recognizing Mr. Charles Hager, who's in the audience this evening, who teaches Regents Honors Chemistry at our high school. He was awarded the Nicholas Romano Award from Science Teachers Association of New York. The Nicholas Romano Chemistry Award is funded in memory of Nicholas Romano, who was a chemistry teacher in upstate New York. And this award recognizes achievements of chemistry teachers within their second through their fifth year of teaching. So we're proud of Mr. Hager's hard work and his accomplishments in the last. This is his third year here in our district, and just he has established himself very nicely within our students and our faculty and staff. And one of his mentors, Ms. Patricia Mannion, who's also here with us this evening, she nominated Mr. Hager for this award. We do have a short video we want to show you of Mr. Hager working with his students, and also you can see him in action in the classroom. So if we can put that on.
Next up, we'll do the treasurer report. Dr. Sinha is going to present the report. Mrs. Tapio is not with us this evening. She's not feeling well, so thank you, Kusum.
Sure. So cash balance beginning of the month, $50,173,458, $56.73. Total receipts received, $2,287,197.29. Total disbursements, $10,771,252.45, with the final balance, $41,689,401.57.
Thank you. Yes, I'm going to hand the mic back to you again, for superintendent's report.
Okay. I have just several things again. You got a glimpse of what, with Mr. Hager, what he does in the classroom. And, we're hoping to share more of some of those highlights of our staff, throughout our board meetings. So again, congratulations. I also have a couple of other things that I wanted to share. The marching band, they performed at the U.S. Bands Division 3A National Championships on November 4th in Allentown, Pennsylvania. They received a score of 90.5 and finished in 4th place. This was the highest score in placing the band has had in 8 years. We're super proud of their efforts and of Mr. Dan Delamonica, the band director, our band director, and we're looking forward to their continued success. Our fall school production this past weekend on Steel Magnolia, it was unbelievable. Those who went to see it, it was probably one of our, it was a great way to start our high school productions. So it takes hours of rehearsals and many hours spent on set and lighting and design to put this kind of production through. And our students are so talented. I also want to thank Ms. McLaughlin, Ms. Frazzetto, Ms. Ritter, and Ms. Martin for their support and guiding our students. It was a phenomenal show. Our football team won the Nassau County Championship over the weekend. And they're off to the Long Island Championship, which will be held at noon at Stony Brook University this Saturday. I also want to mention Madeline Gebhardt, who is a freshman. She finished 17th place in New York State in the 500 freestyle swimming. That's very, very impressive. So congratulations to both our football team and also to Madeline. We had a elementary math and literacy fun night on November 13th. And it was a wonderful event. We had, oh my goodness, many parents came with their children, and it was held at Stratford. Ms. Kaufman and Ms. Cardella, along with our administrators and many, many of our teachers who coordinated that evening. It was actually very well received, and we hope to do many, many more of these literacy and mathematics nights. What was nice is seeing parents learning alongside their children, and many of our students were teaching our kids, so that was kind of nice to see. We also last week hosted 10 educators from Iceland who were in the country attending Iceland's largest education conference, which was held in Manhattan. They visited our middle school and our Stratford Elementary School. And during their stay here for the day, we treated them to New York bagels, which they loved, and pizza. But outside of that, they loved visiting our innovation lab. They wanted to look at our spaces. They visited many classrooms in both the buildings, and they were interested in really learning about how we approach education. So we had an opportunity to spend the day with them. We learned from them, and they also learned from us. It was just a wonderful learning experience for everyone involved. I also wanted to talk a little bit about last week. We spent a whole day, all of our administrators, along with many, many of our teachers, in working on our curriculum work. That's been an area that we have really focused on for the past, this is our third year. And there was a tremendous amount of planning done that Ms. Barbera, along with Ms. Laylor, had done. So I don't know, Ms. Barbera, could you speak a little bit to that day?
Yes, so as Dr. Sinha indicated, we had a total of 25 different, 15 design teams. And they were working on projects that ranged from primary K-1 special area writing, all the way up through a number of our high school folks from the English and social studies department. So pretty much kind of a humanities theme. And as you already know, because we presented earlier this year, we have a dual focus this year. The first one is on making stronger cross-disciplinary connections. And many of the people that were involved in those project teams took more of a PBL focus and really were enhancing cross-disciplinary connections through that lens. And then the second focus was really more on quality assessment design, something that really applied, again, across all disciplines and all grade levels. As Dr. Sinha mentioned, we had all of our building principals involved in the work that day, rolled up their sleeves and sat at the design tables with their faculty members. And we're planning to have them back for day 2 on December 5th.
All right, thank you, Ms. Barbera. And just a couple of other items. I don't know if you recall at the last meeting, one of our parents recommended, how can we share school events? It's on the calendar, but how can we share it more, especially through social media? So that's something that we've started doing. So weekly events that are major events, we're posting it up on on both Instagram and Facebook. So that's out there. That was a great recommendation. So we have that happening already. Bond forum, we held 1 in person, 2 virtual bond forum or community forums to talk about our potential bond. And both of them, there were some very good questions that were asked, which we addressed. We have a Q&A. We have a whole section on our website that's dedicated to the bond. We really encourage our community members to ask us questions and again, take a look at the information that we already have on our website. So if you can, Tina, if you can show, if you go back to it's on the front page of our website. If you go down further, there's our bond. If you click on that and then the bond information. And yeah, and if you keep scrolling down further, so all our presentation, everything is on here on this page. So if you could go back up and if you could quickly show that video, we actually put a video that really speaks to everything in the bond. Go ahead. So again, all the information is on our website and we will have a newsletter that'll be dedicated to this that will go out, later in the next month or so. And then on our, there are several items on our agenda, mostly on teacher appointments, substitute teacher appointments, and we have several contracts, special education and transportation contracts. I also wanted to take a moment to thank our Commissioner Jackson and our Garden City Police Department for their assistance. When we last week, we had an incident at the high school where there was a threat that was made, an external threat, and they were so quick and so responsive, along with our the security consultants that we use through Covert, where they sent extra personnel for us. So we would really like to thank them. And I also want to reiterate, Mr. Steingrubner had sent a letter out last week, really around reminding parents and students that we really want to discourage the meal deliveries, people that don't belong on our campuses that are coming to deliver, particularly for delivery of, like Uber Eats and things of that nature. So we really want to make sure our schools are safe and discourage. We want our families to understand that that it's important for us. And then just a reminder on for this week, tomorrow will be early dismissal for our students as part of our emergency plan that we have, evacuation plan. And it'll be 15 minutes earlier that our schools will be closed, which we do every year around this time. Wednesday this year, day before Thanksgiving, schools are closed for students. Staff will be in. It's our superintendent's conference day. And we have really come up with it'll be a wonderful day for us to really engage in learning on Wednesday. And lastly, we wish our families and our community members a happy Thanksgiving. with family and friends and loved ones for this Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sinha. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody. I know it's ongoing, but there's been a lot of work on not only the bond from Dr. Sinha, Mr. Capu and others up here. They put a lot of time and effort in, and the presentations, obviously, the last couple of weeks. Hopefully answer most of your questions. If not, feel free to check the materials online or ask questions. This is something that the board has been focused on, given we have a bond rolling off and an opportunity to do some much needed upgrades to the facilities that in excess of what we've been doing over the years, but it's something that we definitely need to do. I think the last bond we issued was in 2009, so 13, 14 years, depending upon the exact date. Second, I want to reiterate what Dr. Sinha said. We want to congratulate all the teams. I know she mentioned most of them, but it's really a testament to the hard work of not only the students, the parents, but also teachers, coaches alike who help our students not only prepare for sports, but also prepare for school in lieu of sporting events that they have to attend. So really appreciate the hard work. I know Dr. Sinha said this Wednesday, the decision was made this year to make it a teaching and learning day. Just for people who ask, because I got asked this question, Wednesday is a poorly attended day every year. I think it's 50% or less. So given that attendance is pretty poor, we thought it was best to use that time for teaching and learning and use those other days for learning when we have more students in the facilities. So it's something we always are looking at and trying to make best use of everybody's time. So that was the reason behind that decision. Then, one other thing I'd like to add is, we talked about it, I think in the past meeting, the process for assistant superintendent of curriculum is in process. Resumes have been reviewed. I don't know if you want to give a
Sure,
quick update on
sure.
the process and timing and the number of resumes we received.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Cilio. So we, Ms. McLaughlin and I, we have, we posted the position. It closed on November 10th. And we received quite a bit of applications, close to, I would say, at least about 60, 70 applications total. And out of that, we have really taken and started the screening process. We have screened about 10 individuals, and we have more screening to do, 2 more for tomorrow, and we may have an additional one the following week. Once that's completed, they will go to a committee, and the committee will be comprised of all stakeholders, including our parents, teachers, administrators, of course. And then we will do something different with this particular position because it's a central office position. We'll have some stakeholder groups with parents, students, the Board of Education, of course. And they will go through that, and that'll be maybe the 2 to 3 finalists that'll go through that. And then the finalists, we will be making site visits to their current district where they are. And then a recommendation to the board. So our goal is to wrap this up, this process, that we should have a recommendation for the board by February's meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Sinha. One other thing I'd like to mention, I know you talked about Literacy Fund Night. I know there's mathletes and there's a whole host of programs before and after school that the district offers. I would encourage people to get their kids involved as much as possible. They're good events, and the kids definitely enjoy them. And it's an opportunity to learn outside of your traditional classroom setting. So please take advantage of those opportunities if they're out there. If anybody has any questions on the assistant superintendent process, obviously during Q&A, feel free to ask those questions. Do any other members of the board have any questions or comments? Not at this time. Are there any questions from the Board of Education? None. I think we're designating this time for citizens' questions or comments on any of the agenda items. Feel free to come up to the mic and give us your name and your address. Most of you know the drill.
Oh, hi, Eileen Comerford at 138 Kildare Road. It's not about these agenda items, but I know at the last meeting I was not able to come. We spoke about the ICT classrooms, and we had an update on how those are going. So in if the fact I wasn't here, I'd like to share my thoughts on some of the things that were said. The first thing is, I'm glad I wasn't here because I've had a week to think about it and I have a more constructive thing to say. I feel as if when the board members were asking questions, that there, a way it came off as if the parents had been overreacting or scared of change, had a fear of change. And I just want to be very clear that there's not a parent that has a co-taught child who is upset about change. And I really took offense to it being like that. And I am very much trying to move on. Not, you guys did not say it. It was the administrators talking about kind of like the rollout, or just, it was very annoying. But anyway, I think that we should just try to be constructive and move forward and understand that we're a team. And the reason that there were so many problems was because of the way it was explained. And Dr. Sinha and I have had, I think you're probably sick of talking to me about this topic. But the more you give people information, the smarter they are and the more normal they can be at things. So I have a couple other things. I felt very confused, and I would like it to be very clear, like what the number really is, how many students can be in each class. I think it's like 60-40 the state, then it was 12, then it was 14. The reason I want the numbers to be very specific, and I think it's 5 for resource room, is because I'm not concerned about today. I'm not concerned about the teachers that are in position today. I'm not concerned about my son's class today. I'm soon leaving Stratford and I'm going to be someone else's problem. But I feel as if when you make something for just the teachers that were picked or just the students that are in it that moment, without really knowing what those exact numbers are, things can become gray. So I just want to make sure that we know what those exact numbers are. I know you know them, but I don't know them. And I think that I would like to know those. Then the resource room, I was told that the resource room teachers were going to be by grade. Hence, my son's in 5th grade, his teacher leaves the classroom and teaches 5th grade resource room. But I want to double check that that's true, because I'm starting to feel like that isn't. And if the teacher is not teaching the grade specific, what are you doing to support them? So say she has to teach 2nd and 3rd grade. I'm just making it up. What are you doing to help them out? Then I know that the teachers were asked what they think of this, and I still would like them to be asked anonymously. I feel like it would be better, and I would feel more at peace that they are 100% able to say what they think of the program and the changes that were made, or if they have real concerns, that they are able to state them without feeling like they're not being good at their job. Dr. Sinha, you made me so happy when you said that you were not looking to make any other changes and that the 40 minutes that the teachers were leaving were going to be the 40 minutes. I was like dancing a jig at my house. I also want to say that Mr. Hartigan and Mrs. Quesada, there's no doubt in my mind that they went through their summer and 100% for what my son was doing, where he was. And I think that if you stop them in the hallway, they could tell you what every special education child, what their schedule is, exactly the times where they are. And I really only believe that their full engagement, and I mean full engagement, is what made it work. I am very happy Keegan, when Mr. Side leaves, I think that he's being supported. I think everyone in that building knows who he is and what he needs. I would love the setup of his classroom to be part of the bond for all of the special education ICT classes, because the very nature of the class being a co-taught classroom and the fact that they're being brought down to smaller groups, the way that I don't know if you guys have been in that classroom, but all the furniture comes apart. And so you can easily shove it over and make very small groups. And I think it's a very smart model. And then if you take into account the sort of like has fidgety things for the kids to kind of lessen some of their nature to want to move. I think it would be a really great thing to add to the bond. And if you did it just for the Code Talk classes, I think that would be another exciting thing to be put in those classes. I really hope that you continue to focus on special ed, like maybe once a year or twice a year moving forward. I also wanted to talk about something that happened the other day, which is why I don't want things to get too thin. Keegan had a test and he has two teachers. Typically, he takes his test outside of the room in a special test condition where he can ask questions or the questions can be read to him, but only one teacher was there, so they took it all together. So I'm just concerned that if things become very thin, like those are not his testing conditions. He's supposed to be allowed to be in a place where he's with people who he feels comfortable with, that he can ask questions. And I do worry the days that there are days off. Typically, there's not two people put into the classroom. There's usually only one. And I know the substitutes are an issue. I'm not trying to like beat the dead horse here, but in some specific cases, it actually really does matter. So I think that's part of my reason why I'm so worried about too many, the person leaving too often, and that they're doing that. Two things that have nothing to do with anything that about ICT. Shout out to Mr. Steingrubner with his flags for the veterans. And Mr. Hardigan started a wall of honor for military people. And anything you do to have these children understand civics, I could not be more thrilled. So thank you for listening to me. And I would love to hear, I'm hoping to be on the panel for ICT when they do their thing in the spring.
Thank you for that, Mrs. Comerford. I would just say the flexible furniture is something Dr. Sinat talks about frequently, maybe not in public, but with the board. So we appreciate that comment. And with regards to future setups, although at times it's hard to appreciate, but it is a work in progress. There's different student needs kind of year in and year out with different classes coming in. So don't feel like it's slipping through the cracks. People are talking about it and working on it. Just a very dynamic situation. So we can get you some answers to your other questions, but appreciate the comment. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Thank you. At this time, we're going to use our consent agenda. The consent agenda allows for one motion to approve multiple items and such items as identified on the agenda. President of the board will ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda and will ask if board members wish to have a discussion or clarification on a specific item contained within that consent agenda. Following the discussion, the board will then vote on the consent agenda motion. In addition, a board member may request to have an item removed from the consent agenda in order to vote on the motion separately. At this time, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes business of the board items H1 through H2, personnel matters items I1 through I4, business office matter items J1 through J23, and special education matters K1 through K9.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, is there any new business from the board?
None.
There's no new business from the board. At this time, is there any new business from the administration?
No.
Not at this time. Thank you. Future Board of Education meetings, there'll be one Tuesday, December 5th. It's a Board of Education work session at the Garden City High School at 8:15. And then Tuesday, December 19th it's a Board of Education regular session here at the high school at 8:15 as well. At this time, may I have a motion to move to executive session for a confidential matter?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Happy Thanksgiving. Tom.
Yeah, that's what he said.